What up, thou? We in here? We live. We live. We live. I think I fumbled right there, Big Ragu. That was a clear fumble.
Fumble Rooski.
Yeah, let me cover my eyes. Nobody see my eyes. How
All
you
right.
feeling, man? How you feeling today?
Good, man. Good to be with you as usual on a Thursday night. We're right in the middle of college bowl season. How you feeling tonight?
Happy that it wasn't no Thursday night football on to kill my vibe in NFL. But I'm chilling, man. I'm feeling good going into this week with some college bowl games that we took some time out to study a little bit. Excited to see a couple matchups and also excited to move further on into the bowl games. We got a lot of games more coming up. It's only the tip of the iceberg right here, and this is where we get our money right here. These events are kind of isolated. That's when I do some of my best work when my back's against the wall. 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 games total. Pick my best 2. That's where I get the good stuff from, Big Ragu. How about you?
These early bowl games. I like your theory though. I like how you just like you say you look at there's fewer games that kind of go through the mix on and if you don't like something, guess what? You pass. But at the same time, it lets you zero in on certain things you're looking for. So I like that. I like that. That's a good thing. But some of these earlier games they can be a little trickier too. But you get the matchup you like. You know what you like. You go ahead and you hit it. But exactly. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of strange though, because this week nothing really like jumped off the page to me except for this San Diego State game. And as time keeps going, I'm getting a little frustrated with that game with the hook on the 3. Um, is a tough number, and I don't know. I at all, and I think that San Diego State is the better team. It's a 3.5 as dangerous as it may look, but that's the only thing that really jumped off the page to me. Anything jumped off the
I like this. I like the SMU Florida Atlantic game early. That's one I like. I like SMU a lot in that game. First, I was more onto the total, but I started breaking it down, and the better look for me, anyways, is the side for sure. We know there's going to be a lot of points scored. We talked about that, and without Lane Kiffin there, I think that's going to be the big difference maker. It is a home game for FAU, but and I know there has been a small buyback on Florida Atlantic with the hook. It was 3.5 down to 3. So those threes they could be tricky, like you say. Don't let them get you off a game though for that half. You're concerned about it. It's not like we do it often. Long term, it's not good to buy points. They'll eat you up in the long term, but for certain games, certain spots, it's a good thing to get off a key number like that. So if you're worried about that San Diego State, just buy it down to 3 and be done with it.
Yeah, I'd be way more comfortable at the 3. Are moving all over the place. Yet and still, this game right here, it came out I think 4.5, and it's down to 3.5 now, and it's been stiff right here for days and days and days. That's another thing about these bowl games is you have a long time to deal with them, so you have time to sit and watch line movement. We've seen some giant leaps in some games, but I don't know right here, Big Ragu. What else? Marshall game last week.
Yeah, the Marshall game,
State.
App State game, App State. That's a big number. Jimmy was asking about we talked about that the other night too. That was one that came up.
Yeah.
It's a big number. That's 3 scores. To cover that number. That's another team that lost their coach, but that's their third coach in 3 years, and that program always performs well. And something about being in the Sun Belt for them, just clicks all the way around. But when you get in the bowl games, the matchups are a little bit different. So that was a game that I kind of got on the total on the over in that game. At first it looks like a dead under, and then it's in the 40s, and then App State's like 17 points. I think there could be some points scored in that game. To be honest with you, I know App State's really great at shutting down the run. In the past, they could stop the pass, but that's their weakness. If they do have a weakness, that's probably going to be it for them. And the team that they're playing, they're going to have to live, throwing the ball down the field. So if they do, then it could be a blowout, big time for App State. But I don't think so. I think they easily, crack the 40 plus in that game. That's my look on that game.
Yeah, well, I'm on the other side in that. In that game, it's either going to play out one of the two ways, though. Either it's going to be a tough battle, or it's going to be open season and it's going to go over. But good thing one of us is going to win for sure in that game, depending on what the results is right there. But going into this Marshall game now, I've heard you say it. I heard Ian say it. A lot of other cappers say it. Considering, coaches that are moving on, getting fired, so forth and so on. Sometimes, to me, I feel it's like sometimes it could be like a little media blend that kind of throws you away from the X's and the O's, and then it's an adverse effect on each school when they have those changes. Sometimes the players are young, they rally. Sometimes the players are, whatever, they just go out there and give a piss poor effort. You never really know. And I think the media, they want us to be involved with all those type of things and stay away from the X's and O's, because some of these games might be just totally obvious on the other angle. And I find that in this and also the other thing is the bowl record of the teams going into the bowl. Now, that does mean a lot to me, because those bowl games are about preparation. Coaches that can travel with these kids, keep them focused on the game, and come out with a victory, they possess a special gift, and we can't take that away from them. And in this Marshall game, we got a classic right here where the coaching edge right here would lead you to take that 17 points with Marshall.
Absolutely. Yeah, Doc Holliday, he's a beast when it comes to bowl games. He's been there for a while. He's a fixture there. And like you say, certain coaches have that knack for getting these kids prepped and ready for these bowl games. And Marshall, they're probably a little more tougher defensively than they are on the offensive side. And UCF, they had their inconsistencies this year in quarterback play and on the offensive line. So, it's not the UCF that we're used to seeing, and I've been up on them and been against them in some spots this year. Had some pretty good success going against them in a couple of times. But this is another time here, they're playing, right down the street from where they live. They're playing in Tampa. The game played in Tampa. They're out of Orlando, so they'll travel well there. They'll have a good fan base, but so I think Marshall's is the right team at the right spot for this game.
And here's another game that's been solid as far as the line movement. Opened up at 17.5. You can get a 17 out there, bookmaker, a couple other places, but for the most part, 17.5 still. And the total was at 61, and it's went up a half a point, and it's pretty much stayed there across the board. So everything's pretty plain in sight in that game right there. I agree with you with UCF. They're not really having the season they're accustomed to. I spoke about that early in the season with Wimbush, the transfer over there, and I guess you could say I was right on that one. Yeah, Big Ragu.
yeah, for the most part, yeah. I mean, then they went to the freshman Gabriel. Now they've got a third quarterback in there, so definitely had some issues. That was a great call by you early in the season. So it didn't transform like they thought it would. So sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. That's just how it works in college football.
Yeah, now Jalen Hurts over there, the jury's still out on Jalen Hurts. But he had a decent season. I mean, and he's in the driver's seat where he want to be right now. So, but I did have a change of heart mid-season with Jalen Hurts, thinking that he was going to be in vengeance for Alabama, but Alabama let us all the way down. And now he's up there just playing for himself. He already passed his chance for the Heisman. It's all about going to the pros and how he's going to fit in on the next level at this point. So he may perform well, but I think the guy's skill set is kind of I don't know how you could put a word for it, but basically these kids, they play when they're in junior high, high school, college, they play at a certain standard no matter what size they are, what their skill set are. Sometimes they just have a drive harder than other team. But as they elevate, the competition gets better and, their skills are the same. And I think he kind of like peaked in college football, but we'll see what he does on the pro level. Makes it over there. I'm sure he'll get invited into somebody's camp or something. I could see him on the field in the next season in the NFL.
Yeah, well, he's having the last laugh right now because he's playing and Alabama's sitting home. As far as the championship goes. So kudos to that kid. And when I tell you the truth, I did back Oklahoma quite a bit down the stretch, and they did burn some of my units, but especially that last game when they played Baylor. When Baylor covered twice on them, beat them, and covered the second game. Or no, they lost twice. They beat Baylor twice, but they didn't cover in both games. So just to me, the way those set he made I think he had 3 turnovers in the first game and a few in the second game too. So he's the reason why they didn't cover both those games. By the way, so. To me, I don't consider him a money quarterback when it comes to put money in your pocket. I consider him a good stat quarterback, So, but the market's caught up to him, and you got to pay dearly, especially down the stretch. Early in the season, you made money with Oklahoma, but late in the season, I think you burned some units.
Hey, you hit it right on the head right there, the way you summed that one up. Let me give a quick shout out to our chat, though, man. We got our guy Greg plus EV in the house. We got our main man Donnie Rightside in the building with us. Josh Poino and the Nut Flush Allen family is in the building, and also we have the Boston Nick MMA, our guy Fat Fist, and Deer Slayer Ski in the house with us. Fat Fist, I mean, you can change your name a few times. Whatever you do, I already know you as Fat Fist, and I don't know. I think we might want to just go on back to Fat Fist, man, because I miss Fat Fist. I'm not getting used to Brooklyn Nick, but it's all good,
Brooklyn
man.
Nick. He's Brooklyn from Boston. Nick.
Boston Nick, that's what it is. Boston. I'm sorry, I can't. That's a big mistake.
Don't insult him like that. Don't insult New York like that. Call him Brooklyn Nick.
That's
We're just kidding, Nick. We love you, kid.
But yeah, man. Let me pause for some of our sponsorship too. Let me get this out the way before we go. Big Ragu, I'm gonna kind of, when we get back to the games, I want to kind of speed past a few games, and get to a little deeper down. So we
I'll follow your lead, whatever you got. Yeah. We'll break it down.
Yeah, but shout out to All Pro Moving. Now, if you're in the market of moving anywhere out of state from where you at, this is the move you want to make right here. Call All Pro Moving Group. They'll get you around at a very low price, and they also have a special. If you mention Who-Bangin Sports and All Pro Nick 1, you get $500 off.
Hey, it's Don Ricci here. And for someone who's been in the moving business for over 35 years, I know how stressful it can be. You call All Pro Moving Group, the interstate moving specialist. They're fully licensed and insured, and they can help you out with every facet of your moving. Their number is 817-893-2233, and they gave us a special code for the Who-Bangin Sports Talk customers, and that's All Pro Nick 1 for $500 off any move. That's right.
That's right. All Pro Moving Group. Now, let's go bust out some of these games because we did go over some of these already. And stay tuned for me and Big Ragu, the boss and the sauce on the SBR network on our breakdowns of some of these games as well. But next game up, BYU Hawaii over on the island. How you feel about that one, Big Ragu?
That to me, that's a tricky game. It depends on which Hawaii team is going to show up or which quarterback. If Hawaii shows up with the passing quarterback, then it's not going to be a good day for them. If they show up with the option quarterback, it'll be a ball game for BYU. BYU might have a little bit of struggles defending the run here with this quarterback Cordiero. I think with Cole, I think they have him figured out. I think they're favored 2 points BYU in this game, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not looking at the number right in front of me, but I'm pretty sure they're a short number on the island. We always know we like Hawaii on the island, and we know Hawaii doesn't play a lot of defense, but they are playing better than they have. I guess in this spot here, I would favor probably more the tempo of BYU. I don't think Hawaii is going to have the game that they think they're going to have if they go with Cole McDonald. So I look for Rolovich to make a change up in quarterback, or maybe run 2-system quarterback in this game to give a whole different look altogether. So I'm off of this game just because of that fact. I'm not sure, and I haven't read a whole lot on what they have going on up until they get close. This game's on Christmas Eve, I believe, the 24th. So still have a little time here. But the early look would be I would lean BYU's way on this one, just to lean as of right now.
Now, me being a Mount West guy, I must say that I got to go with the Mount West right here, and I got good hope in Cole McDonald. He stepped up to the occasion, just period. Going from last season to this season, he elevated his skills a little bit, and he knows this game right here is going to be towards the closing of his season, and he needs to, show those scouts and stuff a little bit of what he got. I don't know if he's going to the NFL to play quarterback. Back in the day, he wouldn't make it at quarterback. He'd probably go in as some type of receiver. But I'm liking Hawaii in this one.
Hawaii forever has been a prolific offense. Going back to June Jones, and what's the kid's name? Tommy Chang, the quarterback. He threw for 600 yards. Just that whole program for years and years and years has been set up that way. And Rolovich was the perfect fit for that program with his style of play. But they do have to play different tempos of ball. They just can't be a one-way street. And when you get to the bowl games, and especially and they're familiar with each other. They don't play each other often, but like you said, a lot of those kids that play with BYU, they come from the islands, they come from the Samoans and the Hawaiian stuff. So, there's going to be some familiarities there. So, it's going to be a tight game. I don't think it's going to be a highly explosive game. I think it's probably going to be, somewhere in the 50s, maybe the 60s. Mm-hmm. But what's the total on that game right now?
The under could be the play in this game right here. It's the total is sitting at let me see. Hawaii has played some games where they had some low scores against some tough opponents. So they, like I said, I think the defense over there is undervalued. It's at 64 now. It opened at 62. Right. So it's going up. So you be going against the market move, which I love to do. And it gets a little comfortable sometime right there. But this BYU team, they took a turn of faith. At somewhere in the season, they had 4 losses in a row towards the end right here. I mean, they played really well against USC. They played really well against Boise State. Maybe they're the type of team that could rise to the occasion and play some tough game. But like I was saying with Hawaii, they played some low games too. They played San Diego State 14-11. They played UNLV 21-7. They played let me see, Boise State 10-31. That still fell under. So these last few games, they've been going kind of under the total. So I don't know. With a little time to waste and on the island, the total could go either way. But BYU has a lot of injuries on their team. So Hawaii be the healthier team. But we'll see. That'll be an exciting game. That's going to be a good game to watch right there.
Yeah. Here's a quick stat on Hawaii, too. They're saying that Hawaii is the worst team of with keeping the ball. They have like minus 14 on the turnover margin this year. So, and they says, but when they win the turnover margin, they're like 3-1. So that tells you that they've lost the turnover margin quite a bit. But when they lose the turnover battle, or when it evens out, then they're in trouble. So BYU's 6-2 when they win the turnover battle. So short number for them. So whoever takes care of the football, obviously. I mean, that's just in football in general. We know that. They're not telling us nothing new there, but it's when they have the higher numbers, when the team is in the plus margin or or the negative column, that's when it really shows it, on paper.
Yeah.
When you got a team that's prone to turnovers versus a team that's good at takeaways, that's a lopsided game in most cases.
Yeah, the play there might be the under because it's even rising to give you more cushion. So play right there might be the under all the way, and that's from a capper's perspective. Because if you really been watching these two teams all year, then you could absolutely see why we could be looking at an under. But next game is Miami at La Tech. What you think about Miami at La Tech now? This game right here, Miami is 6-6 versus La Tech, who is 9-3. Now La Tech, my boy Skip Holtz, son of Lou Holtz, they do prepare well. They do take coaching seriously. This guy could pull something off right here. What you think in this game right here?
Yeah, La Tech definitely has the better record. Miami finished up, 6-6. They've had a rough go at it this year. Yeah, now I read something today that, they might have some players that might be, NFL bound type players that might decide to sit in this game. So that kind of gives a little advantage to La Tech's guys. But, and then I went back and peeled back the opponents that La Tech played. A lot of their wins are against some really bad teams, like UMass and
Absolutely.
Akron, I believe, is up there. Anyways, USTA. I just think in this particular spot, we know Miami's definitely the more talented team. It's just how motivated are they going to be and how many players are they going to put on the field that are going to really give two shits to play this game. But, you figure for a team that had a disappointing season with a first-year coach, they would want to use this game as a springboard for next year. And that's the angle I had on it. I was thinking if Miami comes out and they're not flat and they really want to, go off in a positive fashion, then to me, Miami would be the play in this game, just depending upon – that's the thing. See, especially when you get into the later games, when the teams have been sitting around for like 3-4 weeks, just how motivated some of these kids are. And that's what it really boils down to in these bowl games is who's ready to play and who's, like you say, who's going on vacation and, wants to play a bunch of offense and no defense because you said some of these kids don't care about playing defense. In Miami, that's all they are is a defense. They don't have a whole lot going on offense, and maybe this is an opportunity for them to try some new looks here and, like Coach Diaz maybe put some work in.
Now, would you say that if a team, let's say for example, I'm not to go backwards, but let's say for example in the case of FAU,
yeah,
with Lane Kiffin's case over there, let's say a case for that right there, like those kids going out there, are they more prone to, if they feeling that, our coach is gone, it's all bad or whatever, we're just going to go out here and play this game. Where are they going to give up the energy, on the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side of the ball? To me, more than likely, if they have any inclination of giving up, they're going to give up on the defensive side of the ball because that's where all the banging goes on, so they can avoid, all that heavy stuff and just do the fun stuff, throw the ball, catch the ball, run the ball. So that's another reason why I lean over in that game as well. But what do you think about that dynamic there?
It depends on the team itself, like how the team is put together. Certain teams are built soundly on defense, certain ones are, on offense, and then you have teams that are balanced. Those are all different ways, but generally speaking, on a team coming out flat or not having the type of motivation that you think they would bring their A game, let's say they're on a B- type of game, as far as that goes, just if there's a lot of, let's say with the coaching change, maybe some kids are thinking about transferring already, so that's the thing you don't know about. So, there's a lot of different dynamics here, but I wouldn't tie it to any side of the ball. I would just tie it to the morale of the team, as a whole. Team. Yeah, so
I dig it. I dig it.
yeah.
But let's skip on to the next one. Pittsburgh and Eastern Michigan. This Pittsburgh team makes me upset at the stomach. Lost a little money with them in some spots. They were supposed to be good on offense, supposed to be good on defense. They kind of juggled around where they were going to be good for the season. They only averaging 374 yards total, mostly
Yeah.
in the air, only 120 on the ground, which it kind of shocked me a little bit for the year. And this Eastern Michigan team, they're plus 11 on this one. They had a 6-6 season. They're not doing well. ATS 5-7, but they've been heavy to the over. So we get a short number right here with 49. We get Pittsburgh against a team that defense is giving up, 200 yards on the ground, 225 in the air. So they get a chance to get some of this explosive offense that they're supposed to have from the beginning of the season out on this team right here. And I think they can't stop Eastern Michigan, even though they do play good defense. I think these guys, they score a lot and they get some points in, and we get a nice over in this one.
Yeah, the thing about these MAC teams, when they get these bowl games, you can't sleep on them because we know, especially these early games, they seem to do pretty good ATS in a lot of these spots here. Pittsburgh, I didn't realize that their numbers were that tall, but I know I've made some money with them. You had some bad luck with them. I had some good luck with them. I hit them. I must have hit them in the right spots. When you were swinging high, I was swinging low.
That's right.
But I mean, just a few times. I mean, they were really one game removed, from actually getting into, with a little help to getting into that Coastal Division Championship. So they weren't a bad team. They just last year they were the Coastal champions, but Narduzzi, and that's a blue collar team. Pittsburgh is for sure. You got to put them in a class of like a team like Temple, maybe a little bit better for that regard. But it could be a good matchup for Eastern over here. I haven't looked at that game. I know that's one game you guys talked about today with Ian, but I didn't. To be honest with you, I haven't looked at it completely yet. So that's just from the outside looking in, without looking into all the angles of that game.
Hey, well, they can stay tuned to us for tomorrow. Tomorrow we have the Who-Bangin Sports Lounge live, so come hang out with us. Maybe Big Ragu have figured it out by then and have a little something special.
Oh yeah,
for
I
us.
will.
Quick shout out to who is this? Our guy Teese is in the chat right here. What's up, Teese? Also, Sharper Focus is in the house, and we got our guy
Teese.
Boston Nick in the house for sure.
That's
Shout out to Teese,
Donnie's neighbor. He's a Philly guy. Teese, nice guy
Teese.
too.
Real good capper. Did really well in the baseball contest on Who-Bangin last year, and all year round capper right here, man. So
FYI, if you're on the Rams game tonight, 28-7 Cowboys. Now the Rams, it looks like they're falling off the planet again. They're looking like shit. They 28-7. They got a pick six and a wide open look on Dallas's side. So I think Lee just picked the ball off before the halftime. So anyway,
oh man.
Anybody, hopefully you're not on the Rams tonight. Hopefully you guys are betting Dallas if you're on the game at all.
Yeah, if I was on it, I would be on the under, but I kind of left it alone today. I had these god awful Lakers in the first half, and don't look like I cashed that one. But let's jump in. As you was talking about blue collar teams, let's jump into this North Carolina Temple game. Now this morning, it's difficult for me to even go near this North Carolina team. This is a team, if we go back, I had a lot to say about them, and they kind of started on the wrong foot and got into a tough season and tried to crawl out right here. Now they end up in this bowl game versus Temple team, and they're the favorite. Yeah. And they had a 6-6 season too. So another 6-6 team in the bowl game. We're gonna have to keep record of these 6-6 teams. See how good that goes, because I see three of them sitting right here. Miami's 6-6 in there, North Carolina 6-6 in there, and Michigan State is also 6-6. So I don't know. Keep told of the 6-6s. And this Temple team right here, I like this Temple team, but this Temple team, sometimes they just don't play hard enough. Even though they do put forth a good effort on defense, kind of stumble on offense at time. They're only putting up 400 yards a game but North Carolina's putting up a little bit more, 469 a game. So maybe an offensive battle, maybe a chance to take over. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay away from this game altogether because Temple, they kind of scare me. The moment I decided to go against them, they had a good game. But
Tricky.
if I had to take something, I'm taking the 4.5 points with Temple if I had to take it.
Yeah, North Carolina, they started out pretty good early. Actually, they surprised a lot of people, because they didn't know what we knew we were going to get with Mac Brown when he stepped in. He was going to try to get that locker room, put together. He had a nice young quarterback, Sam Howell, who was an FSU. I was a little disappointed because he had pre-committed, verbal commitment to FSU, and Jimbo Fisher screwed that one up and let him go up the street with Taggart, the year where he made a commitment when when Jimbo left. But anyways, so he goes to North Carolina, and everybody was in love with this kid early in the season. He had some exciting, come from behind wins, late drives, made some great plays, and he burned some of my units too early. I went against him a couple times, and then they kind of faded down the stretch. In the middle, they lost that magic. First year coach, first year quarterback. He's going to be a good kid. He's going to be good. They'll be better next year for it. Temple, like you say, at one point I thought they had probably the best linebackers in the country as far as that goes. So plays that teams that can't stretch a defense against the Temple's middle part of the field. That's a nasty team, man. I mean, if you can get through the first line and get through the front four, whatever schemes they put for blocking in front of them, Temple will shut down the option guys. They'll shut the run down. If you get behind them, that's a different story. But anything that comes up in front of these kids, it's going to be a tough look. Offensively, they're very inconsistent. Defense, that's where they live. This team, Temple, they like to get in these dogfight type games, and that's the kind of games that North Carolina plays. So I think points may be a good look. That's the other one. I know you guys did this game today too, so yeah. I'm a day behind. on my work. So by the weekend comes, I'll have all these games capped out. Finalized. Yeah. But that's the first look. That's my lean to be Temple plus the points.
Yeah, me too. Next game, this game I lean under in this one. This team has been performing real good to the under over the year. They 3-9 to the under. That's Michigan State versus Wake Forest. Wake Forest is 5-6-1 to the under, but both Michigan don't really have an offense. Wake Forest don't really have a defense, and I think Michigan's still going to struggle on offense. They just don't got it. They've had plenty of opportunities to play some small schools and all that stuff to score points, and they just can't really put points on the board like that. They're only averaging 361 yards a game, but they only giving up 319 yards a game, and the defense is stout. They had great competition in their conference. They may be the better class team versus this ACC team with Wake Forest, but if they got them for the favorite right there, they're going to have to win the game on defense. And I think that they keep it under the total. We get 50 points to stay under. I'm game for it.
50, yeah. Well, they're definitely going to have their Michigan State's definitely going to have to dominate the pace and the and keeping points off the board here. Because one thing about Wake Forest, they like to run tempo, and they're probably one of the tops in the college football for plays. Their thing is they're not a time of possession. They're more like they're trying to get their 70 plays in and just run their script. So they can't push the ball down the field. But like you say, defensively they have their struggles. Like they've gotten some pretty big matchups. With like Boston College early one year, I think it was like over 100 points, and there's a couple games where they got pretty high, in the 70s and whatnot. But that's not going to happen with Michigan State. The only way Michigan State's going to get in the 70s if they get a couple turnovers, score like 2 or 3 touchdowns on defense and maybe score 2 on offense, and maybe Wake gets a couple 2-3 touchdowns. But this is got. I hate betting unders against teams with tempo, but yeah, it just depends on who the opponent is, and then with Michigan State, that's you got two contrasting styles in a big way here. I mean, Temple. Wake Forest, if they were paying, somebody else, like a normal, just somebody that ran a normal defense, I say normal, I'm talking about like an average defense. But Michigan State's defense is a top tier defense, so that's going to be the matchup. Is going to be the tempo of the game is going to determine, where this number goes, whether it cracks the 50 or not. I would probably say not. Just because I think Michigan State's going to be a little more methodical. And they're going to kind of try to keep them off the field, and they'll get their stops on defense. So Wake is not going to have their way with Michigan State's defense because their secondaries are usually one of the tops in the country too. So that's going to create some problems for Temple to stretch the field. I mean, I keep saying Temple for Wake to stretch the field.
Well, let me stand corrected too on that over and under. Both teams are 5-7 to the under. I'm sorry, I read that wrong, but yeah, they're 5-7 to the under. But I knew they big time other teams right here.
What's the line on the game?
It's Michigan State -4.
-4. Yeah. Well.
So
and the first half, what's the first half total? We don't know that. We got to look that up. Don't even worry about it.
It might not be out yet. I'm not sure.
Yeah, don't even worry about it.
It might not be out. But yeah, where are we going next? To this is a good one right here. Oklahoma State and Texas A&M. Now,
good game.
I kind of on the show. I kind of backed Oklahoma State, and after looking at it a little while longer, I kind of was squirming in my seat. I definitely don't want to get involved on the total side of things because traditionally this Oklahoma State team has been all about all about offense and scoring. But this year, the tables turned a little. They're not really a scoring machine like they used to be.
Yeah, they got injuries.
But they're
riding off of Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, they 5-7 to the under as well, and we get 54.5 with this one. Texas A&M is favored by 7. I don't know in this game if I had to take a pick, I'd take Oklahoma State plus the points in this one because Oklahoma State they had some tough opponents this morning on the show. Ian mentioned too, Texas A&M. All their losses came to all top schools. But I wanted to say something back, rebuttal. If you look at Oklahoma State, their losses are to top schools too. So both, they played Texas, they played Oklahoma, they played some nice teams as well. So knowing this game, it's going to be a tough game. Might just be a grudge match, and the play might be the under. But in a match like this, give me the points.
Let me ask you a question now. We're talking about, matchups and whatnot. How many times during the course of bowl season or like latter part of bowl season have you went back and you said, okay, we always try to make a determination like we did early in the season when Oregon lost to Auburn, right? Right away, we said, well, if Oregon loses and then Utah loses this game and then, USC loses, the Pac-3 is going to be 0-3, Pac-12 is going to be 0-3, and then that's not going to be a good look for the conference going forward, all that bullshit. But then you get into the bowl season, you start that look all over again. And then you're starting to say, hey, this SEC's 3-0 and the Pac-12 is 0-3. I'm going to start fading Pac-12 in the bowl games and, or Big 12, that kind of stuff. So it's still individually, when you talk about classic conferences and they always say, the SEC's this and the ACC's not that. And I'm not a big proponent of either, but certain things, they have a way of working themselves out, in the end. So I know the SEC in the bowl games have been pretty successful formula over the years. Like if you got 7-8 teams going to the bowl games, now you got to peel the layers back a little bit because, there's obviously for what we do, we're going against the number. But if you just look at W's and L's, that's the look that most people are looking at, the media and all the pundits and all the guys that are out there, the talking heads. So, this is going to be a good game. I think it really is. Chuba Hubbard is probably the best running back in the country. Texas A&M, they've had some offensive struggles. Gundy, he does like to score points, and the way this game is going to set up as far as it's being played in Dallas, I believe. I think they're playing at SMU Stadium, or playing SMU's field, Gerald Ford Field. So it's going to be a well-traveled game for both teams. So I wouldn't give either or home field advantage. They're both going to have pretty good crowds.
Yeah.
So I think this is probably going to be one of the most interesting games early on in the bowl season. Because I like A&M's looks. I think Jimbo's. This is another one of these games. Like you got a young team to kind of push forward for next season, and I think Oklahoma State's look is they're just trying to survive the season because they've been decimated with injuries on the offensive side. That's like you said, they were starting to slow down a little bit. So, and Hubbard's been their workhorse. The Canadian Cowboy. Like I guess Ian would probably call him that too, right?
Yeah.
So, I would probably say I'd probably look at the A&M side in this game just for the fact that Oklahoma State's banged up and Jimbo Fisher in the bowl game. We'll see. It should be an interesting matchup.
Interesting matchup it will be. Now, next game is this is a nice matchup conference wise. SC and Iowa. This is gonna be on Friday. SC comes in this one, pulled off an 8-4 season. Iowa pulls off a 9-3 season, and both of these guys, not too hot. ATS. USC is 7-5 to the over, and Iowa is 4-8 to the under. These teams are like, I guess, mayonnaise and mustard. They kind of go together, but they taste different.
Yeah, when I look at this game, I think under right away with Iowa. I think they're going to score 20. Iowa's not going to score more than 20-something points. They're probably not going to give up more than 20 points. What's the line on this game right now?
It's -2 for Iowa. Now,
Yeah.
I would with that look right there, and I sort of agree with you on that one, but it's going to come down to pass defense on that one. And Iowa's pass defense is pretty good. They only giving up 183. So if they can shut USC away from some of those big plays and big passes that they have, they may rout.
Who's going to be the quarterback for USC in this game? Did they name the starter?
I have no idea, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I have no idea, stuff like that. That's why these games too, if you're a big fish out there and you're really getting involved with these games, tie into the media, tie into the Twitters, tie into the YouTube channels, because they're gonna show. They're gonna be doing so much filming of the players and stuff, the preparation and everything. You may be able to get a feel of how these kids are feeling going into these games right here. But let's move on. So you say you like the under in that one?
Yeah.
I probably would have to lean with the
first.
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because USC has burned me quite a few times. As soon as I think that they punch drunk, they still got a little fight left in them. And then the over-under is suspicious too. Could easily start. Well, I don't know how well Iowa's offense. If SC gets in front of Iowa, I don't know how good the offense.
They're not built
to come back.
I'm gonna say they're not built for Nate Stanley. The way Ferenz operates that offense, it's more like a standard pro style offense. They run a lot of tight end sets. Single back, double. Not I formation, but they run a lot of pro set offense. And they don't run a lot of tempo either. They're a very methodical team when it comes to. That's why these games are usually close with them, because of the league they play in. They're built to play in the Big Ten. That's a perfect Big Ten team. They set their offense and defense up.
I guess I'm gonna have to lean Iowa, because if you're gonna say preparation in these type of games, the last 3 bowl games they're 2-0. So I think that they know how to prepare, and they're a defensive team, so they in control of their destiny. I think if I had to take one there, I'm gonna take Iowa minus the 2 points.
Yeah, you got Kirk Ferenz. He's the longest tenure coach in college football, I believe, right now. He's got like 20 plus years.
Now let's go over to another good conference matchup, and this is another one, Washington State and Air Force. We had Washington and Boise. That's Pac-10 versus Mountain West, and then we got Washington State versus Air Force. And I don't know, as impressive as the Mountain West was in the out of conference games early in the season. I think I probably stick with them out of conference. I think they're probably one of the most slept on conference when it comes to talent. All these guys are they the overfield of players that go to USC and UCLA. The ones they just barely didn't make it there. They end up in these Mountain West schools, and they played against some of these guys in the Pac-12 when they line them up. So Washington State. Not much to say about Washington State for the season. Another 6-6 team. Air Force 10-2. They got the running game that Washington State is more than likely not used to. I'm gonna have to lean Air Force in this one.
Yeah, Air Force. This is another contrasting style. This is like a Michigan State, Wake Forest type game here. You got a team that likes to sling the ball against a team that likes to ground and pound it. So. And I think Air Force is definitely going to be the more physical team here, as far as that goes. They might not be the more talented team. We know that the number one passer in the United States of America is on Washington State. Even Minshew is gone, and the kid that stepped in for him, I think he's got like some ridiculous amount of yards. I read it today. That I did read a little bit today. So when I looked, I had to do a double take how many yards he had, but. What does it amount to W's? You're looking at the record at 6-6.
Right.
ATS wise, what's their numbers on the ATS side? They're probably close to 500 there too, or maybe a step below or a step above. So,
Air Force ATS is 7-5. Washington State ATS is 4-8.
Yeah, so I figured Washington would be on the short end of the stick. Yeah, when I first looked at the game, I liked Air Force. I just think the way I think the game is set up for them better to slow Washington State down and methodically, keep them off the field. Not I wouldn't say push them around, but and on the defensive side, if they're not used to seeing that option too, that could be a long day for Washington State too. So it could be
Absolutely.
both. It could be an ugly day for Washington State on both sides of the ball in that game.
And then Air Force has been really, really tricky this year. I've seen them in several games. That I'm one advocate against some of the trick plays early in the season, and trying to trick people to win. I'm not an advocate of that. In football, I think if you're gonna go for a stab or a play, take it straight off the ball and go, do your thing, block good. Everybody handle their assignment. No need to do the trick plays, but Air Force do the trick plays well. Double pass, all that good stuff. That's got them out of a lot of games, and it's gonna be wide open for these bows. If they had a over under on if they were going to do trick play, I'd definitely hop on that as a prop. But I like Air Force in that one. But let's go over to Saturday. What day is this? Oh man, I don't even got the date right here. But this is a game that I'm going to be waiting for though, and that's Iowa State versus Notre Dame. And Notre Dame's a -3.5 in this one. Now, this Iowa State team is very, very scrappy. They 7-5 for the season. Notre Dame's 10-2. My guy Kelly is kind of back and forth from bowl games. He's a big guy on preparation though. He's like Belichick level on that kind of stuff. But this Iowa State team, just a good group of guys that played together for a couple years now. And some of them might be going out, and they might want to go out with a bang. But Notre Dame, we got a throne to take care of in this one. As much as me and Puck didn't get along for the season because I kind of bagged on him when he started getting better, and he kind of underplayed when I thought I had hope in him. So now in the bowl game, I think if Book's going to come back and play another year, he wants to win this game so he can, carry the team on his shoulders next year. But we'll see what happens. But I'm definitely taking my squad in this one.
Yeah, I love Notre Dame in this game. There's no question about it. I think Notre Dame wins this game by double digits. I really do. I know Matt Campbell The thing that Purdy, the quarterback for Iowa State, he's had some pretty bad inconsistencies. They have lit up the scoreboard at times. They've been in a lot of close games, in the middle, latter part down towards the stretch of the season. Notre Dame's going to be a different animal for them, I think, in the bowl. They got a pretty good travel spot here. Notre Dame's going to travel well. Their fans always show up, and they're playing Orlando. So I think the contingency is going to be out strong force for Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame's going to give a good showing in this game here. So that's going to be one of my better plays this bowl season. Going to be Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think I should take it now. that with the market and that being so far out, it's December 28th.
Yeah.
At opened up at 3.5. It's been sitting flat at 3.5. Really not even that much movement on the juice as well. But the Notre Dame fans that come in towards the end, I don't think too many Iowa State fans are gonna come in. But I think might be a time to buy low because this could go up at least to 4.5.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd probably be a good look there. They're a public team, so they're probably definitely going to get some action that way. As far as now, sharp money, I couldn't tell you, but I have a feeling the sharps would probably be on if they haven't already. They've already, I got to go back and look at some of the way the money's been coming in, but I wouldn't be surprised if Notre Dame doesn't go up to 4, maybe 4.5 in this spot.
Yeah, I love it right there. I guess I gotta go lay some heavy money on that one to get a rebate on some of the money I lost on Notre Dame this year. It's tough being a fan and bet. I wish I could put it down, but I think for me, betting on Notre Dame probably started it all. With all the SC fans around me in junior high and high school, I used to get them. But let's jump into the next one right here. Memphis and Penn State. Now, this is one, I don't know, right off top, I love Penn State. I love the way they play some of even though they didn't win some of those big games, I love the way they rose to the occasion to play some of those good games. They tried to stay and finish the season at 10-2. This 12-1 team that puts up quite a few yards games in the air, 284, 480 total yards. So they can do it on the ground and in the air, very balanced on offense, and play decent defense as well. They only giving up 372 on defense. So maybe this is a Memphis Cinderella team, but this is a real feisty, tough Penn State team. And I don't know about this one. Do you take the points with Memphis and the Cinderella team, or do you say that Penn State's going to come in here and handle business to finish them off and keep on shining?
Memphis just lost their coach to FSU, Mike Norvell. Good young coach, really a good motivator. Everybody bought into his system. Like when he had Benny Snell last year. They were a chameleon team. This team, they could pass for 400 yards in a game, 400 or 500, or they could run for 300. I mean, depending on what his talent level. So this guy always got the most out of his kids. That I know for a fact. It was a great hire by FSU to bring this guy in. So we'll find out next year. But to talk about this game here, that's a key component for me. Missing out of the locker room. I don't care who you put in this spot. Some of the kids. Are they disappointed? That was the feeling I got, but they're going to show up. They're going to play their game. Franklin on the other side with Penn State, they like to muscle around. They like to blow people out. He likes to run the score up. I think this is going to be a high scoring game, to be honest with you. Whether they get all the looks they need to get from Memphis on the offensive side, they can score 40. I don't think they're going to score 40 against Penn State, though. See, that's the thing. I think Penn State will probably score 40, 50 themselves. If we get Memphis to score, let's say, 3 to 4 touchdowns, then I like the over. But, as most of these teams done all season in the Big Ten, is they all played pretty solid defense because, they were built, like I said, the way that league is built, they built to stop the run first. And I think the way Memphis has been going, this particular year, they kind of went back to the pass a little bit more than the run. They try to run a more balanced attack. Last year was more run. Years before, it's been more pass. Now it's kind of been a little bit of both. And with the coach being gone, I'm going to say that probably the better side. I wouldn't maybe even fool with a total, even though there's a possibility to score over 60 points. I think Penn State is the side to play in this game.
I like it too. I lean Penn State kind of hard in that game too. The total can be iffy, but it's a bowl game. Teams like to score. I don't know. I think the side's a better look as well. Now we could get into these two major games. We got 5 minutes left, or we could save those two big ones. We're coming up on Oklahoma and LSU and Clemson and Ohio State. We could save those for next week and
we got plenty of time.
Do a little homework to do some of that. So we're gonna cut it right there for this week. Still a lot of more blow games to go. Thanks everybody for hanging in there with us another week on the Boss and the Sauce Show. Don't forget to come check us out tomorrow on the Who-Bangin Sports Lounge Live. Got some special guests on there. You're probably gonna have Mr. Ghoster on there tomorrow, Big Ragu, and also Boston Nick should come join us for a couple MMA shout outs too.
Yeah, I think Greg said he might want to pop in too. I was talking to him last week, so let's see if we get Greg in.
Okay, absolutely, man. It's been a while since we had Greg in there, and following week we're gonna have David Boston come visit us again. We're gonna be well into what the playoff picture look like. So we're gonna be talking about the playoffs next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday, and should be a lot of fun, man. And we're gonna be headed towards the downslope on the Boss and the Sauce, and you got some nice Cubans over there. Did they come in the mail from Ricky?
Listen, I was gonna say, if my boy Ricky's in chat tonight, I got some Monte Cristo number 2s. I ain't gonna fire it up yet because I'm gonna smoke them Christmas. But
that's right.
You know what I'm talking about, baby. We're gonna get the job done. No matter whatever it takes, we're going to get the job done for you guys. But shout out to my guy, Ricky.
Absolutely. We don't
a couple of cigars my way. Much love.
Big shout out to Ricky. Big shout out coming hanging out with us in Vegas. Also supporting us in everything we do. We got a lot of love for Comic Rick. And shout out to everybody once again in the chat who hung out with us tonight. We appreciate y'all all. Alex Ramirez jumped in here. Josh said, good stuff, fella. And Tease, sharper focus. Don't forget about Boston MMA, Deer Slayer Ski. They always here hanging out with us. And who else knows out of our other 9,000 viewers that we have right now, who else is watching? But it's okay. We looking great. We doing our thing. But that's it for me. You got anything else to say, Big Ragu?
Just stay tuned. There's a lot of football coming, guys. So just, pop in on us on the shows. Every show that you see us doing, give us the follow on Twitter at DJ Big Boss, at Big Ragu 62, at Dom 541, at Wham O'Dree, and the rest of the crew. I'm sorry if I missed anybody, but and then always, catch us in the chat on Jimmy's show during the week. Yeah, and then we're gonna, the closing line. We're not doing the Saturday show, so we're all of our videos, guys. DJ and I, we're doing a ton of videos on each game with SBR, and those are coming out on the YouTube channel daily. They're gonna be popping on every day. So put your hit the bell, subscribe, and like on our channel, and also if you want to make sure you catch our videos on SBR, do the same over there.
Absolutely. So we out of here, man. We're gonna give a shout out to All Pro Moving, and we're gonna keep it moving on. So see you tomorrow, Big Ragu.
That's right. And for you guys don't come back tomorrow night, you guys have a safe and happy holidays. But I hope to see you tomorrow night on the show.
Peace.
Hey, it's Don Ricci here. And for someone who's been in the moving business for over 35 years, I know how stressful it can be. You call All Pro Moving Group, the interstate moving specialist. They're fully licensed and insured, and they can help you out with every facet of your moving. Their number is 817-893-2233, and they gave us a special code for the Who-Bangin Sports Talk customers, and that's All Pro Nick 1 for $500 off any move. That's right.
The Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.